Welcome to Education in Focus. I'm Eliana Kernodle. The Department of Justice filed a lawsuit last week against Virginia, alleging the state unlawfully grants in-state college tuition rates to students who are not legally present in the United States. Joining me to tell us more about this is the Center Square's Esther Wickham. Esther, tell us a little bit about this lawsuit.
Yeah, thanks, Eliana. So, just like you said, the U.S. Department of Education has filed this lawsuit, really seeking a permanent injunction against the Virginia Education Code, which they claim conflicts with federal immigration law. And essentially, within this lawsuit, the DOJ is arguing that these policies that are implemented within the state of Virginia allows illegal immigrants to access the same benefits that a lot of U.S. citizens get when they do go to school in the same state that they reside, but those same, benefits are denied to many other U.S. citizens because, as they say in the lawsuit, it's wrong, but it's also illegal. And so this idea that, when you go to a university, when you live in that state, the tuition is going to be cheaper. But as we know, if you live in California and you go to a school in Texas, that out of state tuition is going to be significantly higher. And so throughout this lawsuit, they say that this is violating federal immigration law. They say that this federal law prohibits states from providing kind of post-secondary education and any kind of benefits that are, taxpayer funded. If this is, federal scholarships or tuition-based aid that taxpayer citizens, U.S. citizens, and their students are not getting. And so since this happened the week of New Year's, this is still kind of an ongoing conversation. And the big thing to highlight is for over almost 30 years, Congress passed this illegal immigration reform and immigrant responsibility act. And in the lawsuit, they kind of harken back to that, saying, they want these, immigrants to be self-sufficient. They want to reduce, these illegal immigrants or just immigrants that, come to America legally to rely on public assistance. That's what they say the foundation of America started from, immigrants fighting for, their life, fighting for a better quality of life. And they believe that ensuring these kind of public benefits incentivize more immigrants to enter illegally because, as a lot of conservatives and Republicans will fight for as the immigration conversation continues, is that, if the government continues to hold their hand, these illegal acts are going to continue. And so that's kind of the DOJ's biggest argument when saying that this in-state tuition is allowing and incentivizing illegal immigrants to enter our borders legally while U.S. citizens' taxpayer dollars are being forfeited.
So, what is the discrepancy between what these illegal immigrants are paying versus citizens of the United States that are coming from other states?
Yeah, so as I said before, we know in-state tuition and out-of-state tuition has, a huge difference, and that's just the reality of the higher education system. But within the lawsuit, they highlight that illegal immigrants, because they're granted this kind of in-state tuition benefit when going to colleges and universities, they pay nearly, looking at the state of Virginia specifically, $40,000 less than the average American who is residing in another state that wants to go to a specific state in Virginia. And the lawsuit kind of highlights this report done by U.S. News and World Report that in the 2025-26 school year, the University of Virginia, UVA, which is a very, popular school, very prestigious school that a lot of students want to attend. The in-state tuition charged here was $23,897. And, this is for undergrad tuition. And when you compare that to out of state tuition, it's significantly different. It's almost double. It's 62,923. And so when you look at that as a bigger scale, understanding that these illegal immigrants are, getting that benefit of the payment of in-state tuition, as the lawsuit kind of highlights, that's $40,000 less, that 23,000 compared to 62,000 that a lot of other students are, simply not getting. And like we've talked about in the past, the state of California has also been doing that with the California Dream Act application, where these illegal immigrants or mixed status families can apply to this scholarship, kind of federally funded scholarship, to attend UC schools, University of California schools. And this is something that a lot of taxpayers are upset about. Why should these immigrants that are coming into our country illegally get the same, if not better, treatment than my kids, who I'm a taxpaying citizen, my kids are a taxpaying citizen. Why are they, kind of getting gypped? So that's kind of what the Trump administration is trying to break. And he wants to challenge these state laws that allow, as they say, individuals without legal status to receive any kind of in-state tuition benefits. And this kind of continues that conversation, Eliana, that we've talked a lot about, of, immigration and kind of cutting down on, as the Trump administration continues to increase, deportation and increase immigration and strengthen the borders. This is kind of one step in that direction. And starting with education, they believe that there should be, no taxpayer-funded benefits that go to unqualified illegal immigrants. And so, as this case continues, we'll see kind of what Virginia responds to. As I said, this is in the new year, so nothing has really come of it since. But they believe that, Virginia is breaking the law, violating federal law, and that, taxpayer U.S. citizens who are born in the country or come here legally should be getting those benefits. And so this was filed within the Eastern District of Virginia. And so we'll kind of see what, the schools and what the universities respond to, and if, Virginia complies.
Well, Esther, thank you for your insights on this story. You can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.